who gets attention and who grew up in a white culture more than a black culture, I'm going to tell you that getting attention from black guys is not a badge of honor if you're white.
Okay.
And I'm white.
You are white.
Yes.
Hey guys,
So as you can see, this is what this creature starts off her video with. So this is why I'm going to do a response to this video, because I'm not going to go back and forth with these low IQ people who make these assumptions on my profile saying I meet the description of the black man they're talking about. So I decided to go to this Crusty's video and see what description do I meet of the black man she's talking about. Because I do date interracially, and I want to see if I date interracially for the reason she mentioned in this video. Because this is what these Crusties do. Alright, these women, these creatures, I don't even consider them women. They're a bunch of femcells that nobody wants. So they sit online all day obsessing over black men dating interracially because they can only get the low quality men of all races. And this is not specific to black men. This is with the bottom shelf brass they get. This is with the Hispanics they get, the Asians, black men. I mean, as you can see, this crusty creature is a single mom. Her daughter is probably going to be a future femcell being raised by her, which proves the point on my platform not to reproduce with these creatures. So you're actually proving my point, the fact that you're a single mom to a father of nappy-headed, self-hating femcell descendant that came from you, proving the point on my platform to stop reproducing with these creatures. Because I don't know why any self-respecting man, we got whole black men responsible for this too. The black man who specifically reproduced with this ugly ass bitch. We gotta hold him responsible. I don't know why any man would reproduce with a low IQ, mentally retarded, because she's not that smart, she's stupid, and you're about to see it in this video. Reproduce with a femcell idiot like this. But I understand some black men have no self-respect, have low self-esteem, so they reproduce, have sex with these creatures, and now they got a fatherless child. And hopefully that fatherless child come across my video and hope that she won't become like this femcell. But that's not really my concern. I don't care about her. But this is what happens when you reproduce with these creatures. So now you see that video she just played. Let's see what the white men that she worships and say, oh, the white men have power and resources, which I debunked in my previous last 6 series. Every single white man they get have no resources. In fact, if anything, the non-BWs that give black men have more resources and power that you claim white men have. Now let's see what the white men think of you creatures. Let's see what he thinks, and not what his culture back home thinks. Let's see what he thinks as an individual and as a collective, because he's going to speak for a lot of white men, because a lot of white men feel this way about you creatures. All right, let's see what the white man thinks. Since we want to replay these clips, let's play the clips of the white man, how he perceives you ugly creatures. Let's see what he feels about you. Let's roll the clip.
Look at what's best for you, that child, and everything else. As a white man in the West, do I think a white man should ever procreate, marry, or be with a black woman? The answer is no. Why? Because black women in the West are inferior to white women. Why? Black women are 189.7 pounds on average. They typically have a different type of attitude. They're less submissive. I do not believe that these fat, fake-haired women, and plus the fact they can't grow their fucking hair out because they're destroying it constantly, I think it is a downgrade and an insult to a white male to date a black woman or procreate or be with this woman. I 100% think this. Now, however, when we're talking about a black man, should he or should he not date white women? The answer is yes, because that would be a step up. For white men to date a black woman is a step down. There's no question about it. The bottom line of this is that when you look at black women and white women together against each other, there's no doubt about it. White women are the standard of beauty.
See, sometimes you gotta remind its place in society when these creatures post those videos, because they forget that these non-black men are saying things about them that are a lot more vulgar, a lot more upfront, a lot more clear, not leaving any room for confusion about how they perceive these creatures as. Like the video and the clip you just seen, but you see they cherry pick and they don't want to do content on that. And how you know this creature is cherry picking is because if you go to Drake Baldwin profile, in fact, I was going to do a video on it, but you can just go to the profile and you can see that the white woman that she just played in that video debunks her talking points, her other talking points that she made in her other videos. For example, He said that white woman will not be wanted by white men. But if you go to his profile, she has evidence of white men chasing and lusting after her, and her rejecting these white men. That these white men, these same white men, don't want these creatures. Don't want these BWs. These are the white men that have some means of success to even be on that level to compete with Dre Baldwin for this woman. And she doesn't want them. But you see, these creatures won't post that video because it doesn't push their narrative. So when you're saying, oh, you don't want to debate Crusty, Cynthia, go on her platform, I don't respect her enough to go on her platform, for one. For two, I'm not looking for validation. For three, I'm not interested in BWs at all. Everything I want to do a video on, I can do on my platform and prove it just like I did and just like I'm doing right now. And so this is how stupid her followers are. I'm not really sure what these creatures are talking about, because that statement I just made right there about Dre Baldwin just shows how dumb her followers are. If you go to his profile, you will see that same woman debunking all her talking points that it makes on his platform. So we can just continue the video. I just had to point that out.
So I just want to come on here and talk about this Meek Mill and Vanessa Bryant situation. I'm taking a social media break, so this isn't going to be that long. And a lot of people ask.
A social media break. See, this is another thing about these creatures. So everyone who sees these creatures making video after video about black men, talking about black men all day, 24/7, the world can see how desperate and how much of themselves these creatures are. So non-BWs are actually laughing at you. They're getting the top rates of your men while you're on here saying, black men powerless, they had no resources. Where you're getting these Jason Popes who have no power and resources. You're getting these bottom barrel trailer trash white men, and other races of women are getting top tier race of your men. And they're watching your dumbasses talk about how much you hate black men because you can't get the top tier men of any race. So you're only proving to the world the image of BWs, the image of you creatures, that you're the least desired, you're the least preferred, you're the least wanted, you have more HIVs and STDs than any other race of women. You have 50%, you have herpes. These are all facts. So you're only proving that you're the femcells of society by making this video. So if anything, proving a point, anyone who wants to say, fuck boy, oh, ass nigga, you're proving Cynthia a point. No, any drunk uncle, someone retarded family member who want to say that, this video is actually proving my point. Now, I'm only 45 seconds in the video, and I'm already showing you how it's proving my point. And how it's proving to the world how low, bottom barrel these creatures are. But let's continue.
To weigh in on this situation with Meek Mill, who was trending. I saw him trending yesterday, and he was still trending today. I saw the lyric that he wrote in a song, and I also saw Vanessa Bryant's response. And so I'm going to get into that, but listen, this is going to be...
Another thing is, you don't see a lot of other races of women. I just want to point this out. In their mid-30s on Twitter 24/7. Unless they're making a lot of money from it. Unless they're making over... Or sometimes you do, but you don't see it like these BWs. These creatures are always on Lipstick Alley, on Twitter, watching hip-hop wives, instead of actually bettering themselves as women. And they wonder why they can't get ahead in society. And keep talking about black men. Black men are in a subjugated position. But at an individual level, black men collectively, especially ones who are dating interracial, still have more power and resources than any white man you can get. This doesn't make sense, but let's continue.
Really short, so first I want to give a shout out and a thanks to everyone who sends me commentary, articles, topics, and newsletters that you want me to cover on this channel. If you want to contribute to the content on the channel, you can email me. The email address is in the description box and pinned to the comment section. Now listen, you guys know when the tragedy initially happened to Kobe Bryant, I set up and did a long live stream on it, and I talked about it when it was happening. At that time, there was a lot to be said. There was a lot of people, mainly people of no color, making negative comments about Kobe Bryant in response to the old case that he had, in which a woman of no color had made some...
Okay, this is another incorrect statement that this creature just made. So first and foremost, there was mostly positive, like 90% of the tweets on Twitter, on Instagram, 95% I seen were positive about Kobe Bryant. So I'm not sure what she's talking about, mostly of people of color. Most of the tweets were positive about Kobe Bryant. In fact, there were more BWs, and there were actually a lot of BWs that were supporting Kobe Bryant, which kind of surprised me. But there were more BWs that had something negative to say about Kobe Bryant, not because of his situation with the white woman, but because he was married to a non-BW. Then there were white people who had a situation specifically because of his case with that white woman. So I'm not sure what this creature is talking about. This is why you got to call these idiots out, because this is what they use to push a narrative on their platform. There weren't that many white people who had a problem with Kobe Bryant. I mean, if it was, that a lot of that went viral. The celebrities went viral. I can count celebrities on my hand, and I only got 10 fingers who had a problem with Kobe Bryant. I cannot count the celebrities on my hand, or people on my hand for that matter, who had a problem with Kobe Bryant because of who he's married to, who were BWs. So this already, it's just false information being put out. And this is what these creatures do. I want non-BWs to see this. I want black men to see this. Black men already know this. At least the black men who have an open mind, they already know about these creatures. But I want people to see this. Let's continue.
Allegations against him. And listen, this is the same song, different day, where you have black men who, because of their love of whiteness and their attachment to the fantasy of trying to basically feel like they're men of no color, they have to run out.
So here's another thing about love for whiteness. Wanting to be whiteness. See, black men don't want to be white. We are able to get a top tier woman. We're able to get women that have something to offer. So of course, a black man who's making over 100 grand, a black man who's in shape, a black man who's attractive is not going to date the least desired woman. A black man is not going to date women who have children that's not his unless he has children of his own. A black man who has options is going to date the top tier woman. We all know those aren't you creatures. You know, nobody wants to have Jason Pope sloppy seconds. So if anyone loves whiteness and they would date these creatures who have weaves and wigs to imitate whiteness, get HIVs and STDs from the bottom tier white men, because that's the only men you can get. If anyone wants whiteness, they would date you. They wouldn't date the women who are clean, HIV free, have real hair, and have more to offer. I mean, that's just common sense. But this is how stupid this idiot sounds. Listen to what she's saying. Whiteness, but she got white people hair in her head. But because you date a woman that has more to offer than you creatures do, that means you want to be closer to whiteness. No, you got it wrong. We don't want to be closer to whiteness. We actually care about our children, which is why you're a single mom, and the woman that I reproduce with will not be a single mom. You see? So you again proves the point of my platform. I don't prove the point of your platform, because that's the platform that you're pushing. That's a narrative that your dumb ass is pushing. Let's continue. Anyone who might make a video about this, oh, you're going to making way more videos about this, because I got a lot more videos I'm going to do on this. This is just a warm-up.
Out and pursue that which men of no color have.
Already have an ad. And you were talking about this creature makes more money than me? I mean, what? Already an ad in the video.
Access to.
Are you ready to step up your ball game? It takes
To.
So you have black men in a matriarchy that we live in using this creature for ads on their platform. Why would any self-respecting black man even consider that?
And a part of that subjugation is trying to create the illusion that you somehow have parity to the dominant male in society.
Let's talk about what this creature just said. She said a part of that is an illusion that you somehow have equal parity to dominant male in society. Let's rewind that back, because this is what happens. You got these idiots, these creatures, these weeb chimps who use the definitions that they don't really know the meaning of. Let's go back and just make sure we heard that correctly.
Is trying to create the illusion that you somehow have parity to the dominant male in society.
So the idiot said parity to the dominant male in society. So let's take a look at the average white man earning, which is around 50 grand. They are being out-earned by Asians. They're being out-earned by Indians. Now specifically, as I said previously, the individual she's talking about, Kobe Bryant, black men with non-BWs, still have more money, have more parity by far, not just by a little bit, than the white men in America, in their own country. So, this creature is saying that a black man dates interracially because they believe that will give them parity to the white man, which wouldn't make sense, because if a man's getting his parity from status, from income, from success, from wealth, from his accomplishments, which Kobe Bryant is, he already surpassed white man in that category. So he wouldn't need to date a white woman to feel equal to white men, or a non-BW to feel equal to white men, because he already surpassed white men as a collective in his own country. And since wealth is carried on over generations, his children will have more benefits than the average white man in his country, which is how white men get in these positions, in these lawyer positions, and these judge positions, because they have the money to send their kids to college. That's how it happens. That's what the capital system does. You idiot. This idiot. So I'm not sure how the creature is proving my point based on that statement that it's just made. Because if anything, that would be proving my point. Why? Because these creatures, these BWs, constantly say, white man powerful and resourceful. But they get with the bottom barrel white men like Jason Pope. So they feel that they are equal to white women, which they never will be. They're equal to non-BWs, which they never will be, which is why she's online 24/7 making videos about black men and black men, while white women out there getting top tier men of her race, while she's saying, you'll never be equal to the white man's society. While they're getting the bottom barrel white men, and they saying out their own mouths that they feel like these white men have power and resources, but the white men they get have no power and resources. So they feel like they're equal to non-BWs in that category. So she's projecting how these creatures operate, how they date interracially, onto black men. So if anything, this creature would be proving my point, right? Because that's what the idiot just said. Now let's listen to Umar Simp Johnson clip, and let me provide another clip that contradicts what this creature just said and applies to actual BWs who date interracially. Because you can't make videos like this and make up your own reason why black men date interracially, but when we actually give you a reason, you want to deny that reason and project the reason why you date interracially onto black men. Because if you do that, I can just make a video about it. I can make a whole series about it, which I'm going to do. But let's listen to Umar Johnson real quick. Let's see what this idiot has to say. Again, this is the same idiot that nobody respects. Even the pro-blacks don't take him seriously. But let's listen to what he has to say.
Statistically, the black man, not the black woman, but the black man, dates and marries outside of his race more than the men of every other race in America put together as a proportion of the overall population. In other words, if you're going to tell me that love is blind, you're going to have to explain how is the black man's love for the white woman so much more blinder than every other man's love for women outside of his race.
So let's take a look at non-BWs in general. Not even just talking about white women. Let's take a look how many BWs have herpes. Let's take a look at the video I'm watching right now. A single mother who sent home all day making video after video about black men who can't afford to raise her daughter because she made a bad choice. Now she's blaming all black men because she's a single mom. Let's take a look at how many BWs are overweight. Let's take a look at how many BWs have children that aren't from us, aren't from men who don't have children, who want to reproduce with a woman and start their own family without being a stepdad to someone else. Let's take a look at that number, and let's take a look at the black men who date interracially. Typically, those black men who date interracially are looking for better options. So that's why they date interracially. Now, just because you want something doesn't mean you're going to get it. Just because you want the new Xbox, the new PS5, doesn't mean you're going to get it, because sometimes you can't afford it. Now, I could. So someone that can afford it will get it. That same concept applies to black men who date interracially. You look at these creatures, these BWs. It's a proven fact they're the least desired. It's a proven fact they respond mostly to men who contact them, which means they're responding more to messages than men are responding to their messages. It's a proven fact that they get the bottom barrel men of every race. It's a proven fact that they can't compete with white women or non-BWs in the dating market. It's a proven fact that legally interracial marriage was legalized because of BWs. It's a proven fact that BWs are on ghetto gaggers trying to get attention from the bottom tier white men that nobody wants, that white women reject. It's a proven fact that these creatures have a whole channel dedicated to leveling up and dating a white man. They had channels like that for years. These are all proven facts. So we can conclude based on those 7 facts I just stated that men are not interested in BWs as much as BWs are interested in other men. Especially consider we're watching a video right now where the creature who promotes this content and pushes this content out, try to fit her narrative until I debunk it, is pretty much worshiping white men and telling other of these creatures to date these white men, which is why you have Jason Popes and Mike Oliver situations. I mean, that's another fact. You don't have that with other races of women. While talking about black men all day, that she's not qualified to get out her league, that have more power, resources, parity than any white man she can get. So with all this taken into consideration, of course, black men are going to date interracially more because they have the option to. BWs do not have the option. They do not have as many options as black men. And when they do, they get the bottom barrel white men. That's typically how it goes. And that's a fact. 3% of white men marry BWs. So that's why black men date interracially more. And that's why you don't see black men paying courses on how to get a white woman. That's why you don't see black men wasn't the first people to legalize interracial marriage. That's why you see black men don't have to go on platforms writing racial slurs across their chest to get respect and attention from white women. Validation from white women. That's why you see black men don't have to cry and complain racism, colorism 24/7 on YouTube because men of all races don't find them attractive. That's why you see BWs have the least dating responses at a higher rate than anyone else. So that's why black men date interracially more. Because if it wasn't for that, I can guarantee you BWs would be dating interracially more. Because they've been trying to for the last 20 years, 60 years. They've been trying even harder for the last 10 years. And we can see that they're just ending up dead in the news every other week. So that's why black men date interracially more. But let him continue talking so I can play my clip.
Clearly, this relates to slavery. Clearly, this relates to the inferiority complex. Clearly, this relates to I wish I was a white man complex. And clearly, this relates to self-hate and having an issue with loving a woman who looks like the mother who brought you into this world.
So having an issue with loving a woman who looks like the mother who brought you into this world. So is that the same case for these welfare queens having an issue with the father that produced the sperm to bring their self-hating, ugly asses into this world? Because if anything, that wouldn't just prove that black men should date interracial even more. So that would just prove my point. I'm still trying to figure out from these videos of these clowns saying, you should prove Cynthia's point. You just prove Cynthia's point. I'm still trying to figure out how is this proving her point when it's actually proving my point. Let's roll the clip real quick.
Of their son Archie. The conversation of he won't be given security, he's not going to be given a title, and also concerns and conversations about how dark his skin might be when he's born.
She says tabloid scrutiny and life within the royal family made her miserable and lonely. She says at her lowest point, she thought about committing suicide.
I just didn't want to be alive anymore. And that was a very clear and real and frightening, constant thought.
Before this interview, Meghan accused the palace of orchestrating a smear campaign. Last week, the British newspaper The Times ran a report where sources claimed she treated some of her staff so badly that they quit. The palace, which normally is silent, that really changed after the tour that she and Harry took to the South Pacific. After that, the couple said that they really felt trapped and felt they had no other option but to leave. Harry revealed, Ian, that last year he was basically cut off financially from the family.
Wait, I thought it was power and resources. Wait, did I hear that right?
Harry revealed, Ian, that last year he was basically cut off financially from the family.
Cut off financially from the family. You see, Kanye West and Kim Kardashian, their biracial kids still have the money. They still have the wealth. So I'm confused. How are they getting these powerful, resourceful white men? Let's rewind that just to make sure I heard it right.
Harry revealed, Ian, that last year he was basically cut off financially from the family. He talked about how disappointed.
Ouch. So the clip you just seen was a prime example of these creatures and how they try to teach their daughters to reproduce with these men because they think they'll give them power and resources. But as you can see, this is how society sees these BWs as. So that clip that this creature just showed with Umar Johnson, that only applies to black men, I'm assuming, because we all know that Meghan Markle's mother taught her to hate herself, taught her to date interracially, that only white men are the man for the job. But for some reason, if a black man doesn't want to reproduce with these self-loathing creatures, that means, how can you hate the woman that you came from? Now this is where I talk about that a lot of people in this culture are taught to think low of themselves, think less of themselves, not choose the best option for them available. They're just taught to put these creatures on a pedestal without any logic and reasoning. Because there's nothing you can tell me that has any reasoning to what Umar Johnson just said. When you take in consideration the clip I just showed shows that BWs have a terrible image in society, and that's only a woman who's half black, who looks like she could pass for a quarter black. So with all the self-loathing that these creatures have, no respect for themselves, least desire. Other women are already physically more attractive in my opinion. And especially for non-black men. Multiple children, like this creature who's making this video is a midlife crisis single mom. Nobody wants to take care of your kids if they don't got kids of their own. And 50% black men in my age group don't have any children. But they push this stereotype that black men are irresponsible and can't be good fathers. And that's why they hate Kobe so much, because he debunks that stereotype they're pushing out in this video. So that's why this creature is doing a video on Kobe to begin with. But I just had to point that out, just to remind you of the image these creatures have in society. But let's continue.
So based on that, they go out and they seek women of no color who they refer to as nobody, then stargates. And somebody being a celebrity and possessing fame and fortune doesn't change that. So Kobe Bryant is no exception. Kobe Bryant had even disassociated himself from his family. Kobe Bryant has literally only been seen with women of no color aside.
Okay, so there's several articles showing that Kobe Bryant was still in contact with his family. There was articles showing that Kobe Bryant disassociated with himself with his family for a few because of an argument with his family, but not completely with his father. If you know anything about Kobe Bryant's father was actually an assistant coach for the LA Lakers. And his father, he got his father that job, if you do your research. So, this video is just proving my point. I'm not sure how anyone can say, you proving Cynthia point. This video is proving my point. You don't even got your facts right. This creature doesn't even have her facts right. And I'm about to do a whole series on this idiot, because this is a perfect example of what I talk about with these BWs. But let's continue.
From Brandy. So we already know his mentality. Literally all of his wealth is now going to this woman of no color who is going to keep that money in her own community. But I'm not here to talk about the wealth transfer.
Okay, this is again the dumbest point that these creatures make. The money is going to their biracial children before it goes to anyone else in their family, which will have better opportunity, better education. The powers you claim black men don't have. They will have black men, partial black men as children, and they will have the power and the resources that you claim black men don't have. They will go to the best schools, get in contact with the judges and the lawyers that they go to college with, because they're not going to have to worry about financial aid. They're not going to have to worry about paying back loans. So all these things are things that they're going to have. It's going to be an advantage in the market. If you're talking about growth and economic growth, that's going to be an advantage. Even if that wealth was transferred to their children, they still come from more money than UBWs. UBWs have the lowest income in America. You're the least successful. You know, they say BWs own more businesses, right? But they don't own businesses that actually bring in revenue. They said BWs are most educated. If you look at the statistics, demographics show that BWs are actually the least educated when it comes to obtaining a bachelor's degree among other races of women. So the wealth transfer is not a wealth transfer. When you're married, that's combined income. Takes the income from your mother, takes your income from your father. You dumbass. But when they have children, their children gonna still have more money than it would if they married an average BW who's on welfare. I mean, you don't have any money. You're in your mid-30s, and I could post a receipt to how much I make, because someone said that this creature makes more than me. I'm pretty sure she's not over 200 grand a year. I'm positive, but I'll take my L. I'll hold my L if you can prove that to me. I'll hold it over my head. But they still have more money than you. That's the point. So I'm not really sure why these creatures are making these videos. The average earning from BWs is the lowest among all demographics in the United States. The average income is really low. It's the lowest in the U.S. And it's the same thing for Europe, according to the census. You know, BWs have the lowest income. You have a net worth of $5. You have no wealth. So when you're married, a black man with wealth still can pass more money on to his biracial children than he can to his full black children that probably grew up to hate themselves, because we can see that's what you creatures raise, a bunch of self-hating divestors, what y'all call yourselves. So we can see that they're still going to have more opportunity and self-respect for themselves. Even the fact their mother's not white. I mean, their mother's not black. Doesn't really make a difference. Let's continue.
Because I've talked about that many times and we already know what that is. What I'm here to talk about is that situation involving Meek Mill and Vanessa Bryant. And that's really what I want to get into because that's what's most important here. So basically what happened is Meek Mill did a song, and prior to this he made some tweet talking about how he's going back to his savage ways. He's going to keep it real or whatever. Now, I know that people sometimes tend to not respect other people's opinions. And so understand that while you're listening to this content, my opinion is my opinion. You can disagree with it if you want to. However, I'm looking at this from multiple different angles. So what ended up happening is Vanessa Bryant responded to this lyric that Meek Mill made, and the lyric said, "This BMFN always tell me that she loved, but she ain't ever showed me." Yeah, and if I ever...
You could just hear in her voice that she's a bitter femcel, angry at the fact that a non-BW got access to a man that she claimed has no power and resources. Because she knows that that man will have more power and resources than any bottom shelf Brad that these creatures can get. And the same is for the other BWs. And even the black men they get. The black man she got is nowhere to be found. Your daughter's fatherless. Your daughter doesn't have a father. So it angers these creatures, and that's why they sit online all day, because they're angry at the situation they're in, and they want to project their anger and their self-hate, their bitterness onto black men online. So they make video after video obsessing over who's black men dating all day long, because that's all they can do, because they're failures at life. And this is a prime example. If this creature lost her job tomorrow, she'd be homeless. And I seen a live stream Taz did about me. I'm not even going to respond to that. I'm just going to prove the point in the video, because the whole video is, fuck boy, you're proving Cynthia a point. No, this dumb bitch is proving my point. You're making a video about a black man who's not in a relationship with the white woman, proving my point that you're a bunch of femcells. You're bitter, you're obsessed over who black men dating because you can't get no one. You're sitting at home single with a child that doesn't have a father in his life. So this is only proving my point, but you can hear how bitter she is in her voice. You can hear the pain in her voice, the hurt in her voice. And she's projecting that hurt and that pain onto other people online. This is how this creature makes a living. That's why her blood pressure is going up so high. She got blood pressure medication, because you know the bitch doesn't work out with those saggy tits. With those saggy tits, that bitch does not work out. You know the bitch is bald. She has no hair, but she feels entitled to black men who are out her league and have more to offer to other races of women. With all this taken in consideration, you should understand that you cannot compete with these women. You can't compete with Kobe Bryant white. You can't compete with white women. It's not black men who can't compete with white men. It's you who can't compete with white women. That's it.
I'm going out with my shopper, it'll be another Kobe. So listen, the comment was very insensitive, obviously, because this is a man who passed a year ago. And so it's still sensitive. A lot of people like Kobe Bryant. I wasn't one of them. I see him for who he is, which is the typical white obsessed black man who lived by snow bunnies, and that's how he died. He died loving snow bunnies. And it is what it is. It's his decision. So
this is how stupid this bitch is. He was married to a non-BW. That wasn't a snow bunny. Even if he did die loving snow bunnies, it's much better dying loving a bunch of creatures who are online all day talking about black men because they're a bunch of bitter femcells who have nothing to offer. I mean, he loved women that everyone else loved. He loved women that are preferred over you in every single category from all races of men, while you sit online worshiping other races of men. He loved the same woman that everyone else loved. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. People, every time you make a video like this, it's just proving his point, proving other people's point why nobody respects you creatures. Nobody gives a fuck about you apes. I mean, it's just proving my point. Let's continue though.
Vanessa Bryant responded and said, "I find this line to be extremely insensitive and disrespectful, period. I am not familiar with any of your music, but I believe you can do better than this. If you are a fan, fine. There's a better way to show your admiration for my husband. This lacks respect and tact." So let me explain something here that's really interesting to me, because I want to go back to when Kobe Bryant first passed, and even after he first passed. And we'll talk about Meek Mill's tacky comment in a minute, but what I find interesting here is you have Vanessa Bryant, who a lot of black people are doling out all this sympathy on. They're talking about how insensitive Meek Mill is, talking about how he needs to apologize. Oh, she's a grieving woman or whatever. However, I remember when Kobe Bryant first passed, and I remember all of these comments that people of no color were making all over Twitter. And I covered a lot of them, and they were bringing up his past case. They were talking about he got what he deserved. They were calling him all of these names that is associated with people who do what Kobe Bryant was accused of doing. They were literally going in on this man. They were dragging his...
I'll say it again. I was on Twitter when it happened. Most of the time, most of the people were supporting Kobe Bryant. There was a small sector of white people who were not supporting Kobe Bryant, and it wasn't that much. So I'm not sure what this creature is talking about. She's only seeing what she wants to see. She's only saying stuff that fits her narrative. There were some white people like that, but it wasn't the majority. But they were these creatures like Crystal Crack Baby Swirls, which she won't bring up in her video because, again, it doesn't push her narrative that she's trying to push. Who made a video about how she's happy Kobe Bryant died because he was with a non-BW. So there were videos like that, but of course that's not going to be put in this video because it doesn't fit the narrative that these creatures are trying to push. That's why nobody respects them. That's why no one respects you. We'll be protected. Backman, protect me. No.
Courts from one end of Twitter to the other. There were even notable public figures who were making these comments. And at the time, I said, why is it that Vanessa Bryant refuses to come out and defend her husband's name? Keep in mind, his body wasn't even warm, and they were making all these negative comments about him. People were saying that they didn't care. So all of this sensitivity and respect for the fact that her husband went out the window. Keep in mind, there was a number of different news stations that was talking about it. The focus when Kobe Bryant passed was not on allowing Vanessa...
You dumb fuck. She was just... That was just when Kobe Bryant passed. Of course she's not going to say nothing. She was going through it. Her husband just died, you dumbass. Who she's going to respond to? Her focus right now is trying to get a funeral and trying to get some help or counseling or getting right mentally, you dumb motherfucker. It's not to argue with people on Twitter. This was 6 months after it happened. Is that weave, that wig so tight around your head that it's cutting off the circulation to your brain? Like, you that stupid? This person's dumb. Like you said, when he just died, she wasn't responding to millions of people. Or it wasn't even millions. It wasn't that many people. Like, we'll say about 1,000 people that were talking about Kobe Bryant at once. You know, when he just died, she just lost her husband, and she wasn't responding to these people at once. Of course she wasn't, you dumb fuck. Her husband just passed by then. That's not a priority by then. She had other things to focus on. You're dumb.
Bryant to grieve, which she really wasn't doing, because if you guys saw the memorial, she didn't shed one real tear. She didn't acknowledge Kobe's parents. She went and immediately changed the name of his foundation.
She said one real tear. See, this is how you know someone is just dumb. This is how you know someone's speaking out of emotion because she's bitter because she can't compete with white women. If you watch the memorial, she actually did. She was there and she was very upset. She did cry. I'm not sure what she's talking about. I watched it. But, you know, this is what they're doing. They're just bitter, angry femcels because they can't compete with non-BWs. And you can hear it in her voice. You can hear the pain in her voice. The bitter femcel she is. But let's continue.
She was conducting business all during the time that she was supposedly grieving, but she couldn't come out to defend her husband at all. She didn't defend one statement. She knew everything that was going on social media clearly. Clearly, if she knows what Meek Mill is saying about her husband, clearly she knew about all of these news publications, all of these people of no color.
Again, this was when he first died. You dumb fuck. You see, when you are so bitter, you let your emotions get in the way of your thinking. You don't think this through, and you clearly see that this creature did not think through this video and realize how dumb she looks.
Both mainstream and public figures literally dragging him all over Twitter. Yet Vanessa Bryant had nothing to say about that. She was extremely quiet. For example, the Disney heiress Abigail Disney was literally going in on Kobe Bryant, besmirching his name and calling for the public to not even really mourn him in response to those past allegations. Yet Vanessa Bryant was silent. She didn't come out and tell Abigail Disney was being insensitive. She didn't come out and make the same petty comments about Abigail Disney that she made about Meek Mill. Also, when Felicia Somez, who is also another public figure, came out and brought up the allegations on Kobe Bryant.
If these people came out today, she would say something. She's not going to say something when the main focus was Kobe Bryant dying, her trying to grasp that and trying to come to reality with that. It's been almost a year since that happened, so she probably recovered a little bit mentally to where she can respond to people now. Dumbass.
Vanessa Bryant said nothing about that. She didn't say anything when Rose McGowan said it. She didn't say anything when any person of no color negatively mentioned Kobe Bryant. Mind you, this was hours and days after his passing, yet now she has so much to say about Meek.
Hours and days after his passing. Exactly. Oh my goodness. This creature is dumb. I'm going to make another video on her. A whole video on her. About her, well, I'm going to do that another time. Let's get into this video.
Mill. And I want you guys to think about why. And I'm not sitting here being the defense attorney for Meek Mill. I just find it really interesting how Vanessa Bryant had no smoke for nobody else, no matter how negative the comments were, yet she had a lot to say to Meek Mill. And I remember when I talked about it, even 6 months later, when she was changing the names of his foundation and when she was conducting business and talking about suing the company, she still hadn't defended her husband. And people came to me and they told me, you know, you're unreasonable. This woman is grieving. Let her grieve. That's why she's not saying anything. She can't defend her husband because she's grieving. Yet the first time Meek Mill says something, she's all over it and she's making a statement. When her mother came out to besmirch her character, then she came out and made a statement. So she has time to make statements on what everybody else is doing. Queen, but she still hasn't come out and defended her husband's name. So I find it quite interesting that she's so...
See, just notice, I want you to really pay attention, just note how bitter these creatures are. See, this is what, if you're watching this, because I got some white people that follow me, white men that follow me. If you're watching this, and you see why black men don't date these creatures, you see why black men like me look down on these creatures, you see why black men don't respect these creatures, you see why black men like Daniel Cameron say, okay, if you kill Breonna Taylor, I'm going to make a logical decision on this. I don't care if she's a BW. We're separate people. You see why black men like me say we have nothing in common but skin color. Because during this whole video, all this creature did was cry and complain and gossip about what Vanessa Bryant did. You know, who makes a video? This is what these creatures do, and they wonder why they can't get ahead. You know, they spend all day gossiping about black men dating interracially, or white women or non-BWs that they can't compete with, gossiping. They're not improving their life. They're not bettering themselves as women. They're failing in every category. And you wonder why they're in a position they're in today, because this is what they do in their free time. They're not going to the gym, losing that weight so she can get rid of those saggy tits. They're not trying to, you know, set up a doctor's appointment with a dermatologist to grow their hair back because they're bald and they have no hair. Got a bunch of wig and weaves on their head. You know, if you fucking her, it'll fall out and you'll see she's a bald bitch. You know, they're not doing stuff to actually improve their lives, improve themselves as creatures. Because I don't consider these people women. So why would a black man even reproduce with these women? Why would they reproduce with these creatures? Why would they date these creatures? This is who they are as people. That's the only reason I'm doing this video. We gotta expose these creatures, because no one else is going to do a review on this video. So I will.
outraged at what Meek Mill said about Kobe Bryant, which granted it was very insensitive, but where was this same energy when people of no color were calling him names, talking about how he deserved what he got, talking about how they didn't care if he passed? Where was Vanessa Bryant's statement to the media when they were saying the exact same thing? Where was her concern for her late husband's reputation when it was people of no color making very insensitive and, quite frankly, worse comments than what Meek Mill made? See, because this is what a lot of people don't understand about Spanish-speaking people of no color and people of no color in general. When it's time for them to get on code, they will be on code. There's a reason why Vanessa Bryant, although everything in the world, this negative was being said about Kobe Bryant when he initially passed, it wasn't even 2 hours after the plane went down, and literally people of no color were going in on this man. And I know some of you guys saw it, yet Vanessa Bryant stayed silent. She stayed silent throughout everything that was ever said when people of no color were saying it. But now when this black man comes up here...
Really?
He's saying something. Now there's all of this outrage. Now she can come somehow defend her husband's name, but she couldn't do it when the insults were coming from people of no color. And that's why I feel like this is selective outrage. Had Vanessa Bryant said something when people of no color were dragging her husband's name, then I would be like, oh, okay, well, she's just in a mood to defend her husband. Anybody can get it. But that's not the case. There is a reason why she, as a Spanish-speaking woman of no color, feels as though she can correct this black man, but she...
You are retarded. First of all, Meek Mill is a celebrity. And it was months after the passing of Kobe Bryant. Alright, if you had a celebrity come out today who was white, she would respond. I can guarantee you, I could put money on it, if he had as much popularity as Meek Mill's. Or if they had mutual friends. You don't even know if they had mutual friends. Because if you're in LA, you're a black male celebrity, a lot of these people know each other. Like, there's a whole community of black celebrities that have their own community in LA that they live in. There's people who talk in LA, go to the same parties and clubs in LA, meet rappers and hip-hop artists at the same club. I know people in the league right now that will party with a bunch of rappers and hip-hop artists all throughout LA. So there's a mutual friendship, you dumb fuck, you dumb bitch. That could have been a reason why she felt comfortable saying that to Meek Mill, because they probably have mutual friends. You don't know if Kobe knew Meek Mill personally. You don't know if they hung out personally one time. I mean, these are things that a logical person would think about when they're making videos like this. But since this creature's a nobody, and she's a bitter femcel emotional crybaby because she can't compete with white women, it's just an emotional rant. It doesn't even make sense. Like, the whole purpose of this video was just to say Vanessa Bryant didn't check Meek Mill. I mean, this is a dumbass video. But it just shows you how bitter and how inferior these creatures are to other races of women. Let's continue.
couldn't check those people of no color who were besmirching her husband's name way worse than anything that I'm sure Meek Mill would even think to do. Was Meek Mill's comment tacky? Absolutely. Was it insensitive? Absolutely. Does Vanessa Bryant have the same energy towards Meek Mill that she had towards people of no color when they were making worse statements? Absolutely not. So Meek Mill actually came out and he made an apology to her, which I don't even really believe that he's sorry. However, I think that he fears the backlash that he could get from this. And not only is people from his community rising up and telling him he's insensitive, but people from her community are as well. So Meek Mill issued this apology and he said, I apologized to her in private earlier today, not to the public. Nothing I say on my page.
You see, a logical person would say, I apologize to her in private today, not public. They would be able to piece together, okay, maybe these people know each other. Maybe they hung out at a club or a bar or something where the celebrities and rich people say, you know, not something that someone like Crusty, Cynthia would be able to get in because she's not allowed in the VIP section because she can't afford it. I mean, she might be able to get in there if she say, hey, white man, you're powerful. Can you pay me to get white in the VIP section? You know, some bottom show Brad might, you know, try it, but he's not going to be able to afford to get in the VIP section either. So she will never know that these people probably know each other. It's not going to cross her mind that, hey, you know, Meek Mill and Kobe Bryant were probably friends. Maybe that's why Vanessa Bryant said something like, hey, you're a friend of Kobe. Why are you talking about Kobe like that? You're a friend of my husband. You know, this doesn't grasp their brain. It doesn't come across their brain. They don't understand this. I mean, this is just a stupid-ass video. But this is probably what the case was. That's probably why he didn't say nothing.
Directed to the internet viral moment or the family of a grieving woman. If you care about someone grieving, change the subject. Now, you guys know what I think about apologies like this. They're not really apologies, but they are apologies. I don't think he should apologize at all. If it's good for business, then apologize. But do I think Meek Mill is genuine? No, I don't. I would speculate that Meek Mill maybe have something in common with me in that he understands that Vanessa Bryant has been silent through all of these negative comments that people of no color made about her husband, yet she wants to check the black man. And why is...
I doubt it. Meek Mill probably know Kobe Bryant. Meek Mill probably doesn't even think nothing like you except the fact that maybe, you know, you an ugly bitch, but he probably might, you know, if he wasn't rich, he probably have low standards and you probably have to reproduce with you. Because that is if you didn't have money, you know. Because typically that's the only type of men y'all can get. But, you know, I don't know. I can't think for Meek Mills, but I highly doubt that he thinks like you in regards to the situation about Kobe. I'm just saying.
that because everybody sees weakness here. Everybody sees a group of men who don't defend themselves. Everybody sees a group of men who loves and worship women of no color. So
see, this is what I'm talking about. This is where the creature goes on an emotional rant again. We don't defend ourselves, but last time I checked, I'm not getting spat on by white women like you dumb bitches are. We do defend ourselves. We don't defend ourselves, but we're dominating everything that regards combat sports, UFC, boxing. Defending ourselves and getting paid millions while doing it. You know, we don't defend ourselves, but we're not on YouTube and other media platforms having other men throw up on us, having other women spit on us, but we don't defend ourselves. 41,000 of us aren't missing, so we have to defend ourselves for something, because we're not missing like you creatures, but we don't defend ourselves, because this doesn't make any sense. You're talking about a man who's dead who doesn't defend himself. Of course he can't defend himself, you dumb fuck. He's not alive no more. This what I mean is bitch's wig or weave, whatever that is, we know it's a wig. It's so tight around her skull that it's cutting off the circulation for her to think about this. You said a man doesn't defend himself that's not alive no more. You said a group of men don't defend themselves from people. When you're getting spat on, you're getting thrown up on by other races of men and women. See, this is what I mean. They're projecting what's happening to them onto black men. Because I defend myself, and I know a lot of black men that do defend themselves. Now, obviously, a black man that you reproduce with, he must not defend himself because, I mean, he fucked you, so. And we all know that daughter don't have a father in her life. We all know she don't know her daddy. Dada. She don't know her daddy. She don't know her daddy name. We all know 10 years from now, 20 years from now, she might be getting this work. She might be Crusty Cynthia 2.0. So we know that that's the type of men that you get, just like the white men you get. Bottom of the barrel white men who don't defend themselves. But if you're going to talk about an entire demographic because of your situation, at least get some facts to back it up.
of course, Vanessa Bryant, being a woman of no color, she can come out here and boldly check a black man, but show that she will not check the people in her own community, people of no color, who were making way worse statements about her husband. She didn't even care about the fact that her children had to log onto the internet or watch a TV screen and see her father's name being besmirched in some of the worst ways possible. Vanessa Bryant didn't even care about the sanity and the mental health of her own children when their father's name was being besmirched. But now because a black man is saying something, she...
Yeah, I said this before. Most of the Twitter comments were not against Kobe Bryant, you dumb fuck. most of them were not against Kobe Bryant. And when it was happening, it was right after he died. That's why she didn't say nothing. And they probably didn't even know each other. These are 3 reasons. 3 possible reasons why she didn't say nothing. But this is a dumbass video. It's just showing you she's bitter and she's angry because she can't compete with women like Vanessa. And she's trying to promote the fact that she didn't say nothing and use it. Oh, that's why black men shouldn't date these women and worship these women. But yet, ironically, promoted the other side around. That's what she's trying to promote. That's the narrative she's trying to push. But you say people say, I had one person say my content is toxic, but they don't consider this content toxic, and they follow people like this. And this is why a lot of black people who follow this are so dumb and behind. Following someone who has no knowledge on economics, no knowledge on anything, is a mid-life crisis single mother making less than $200,000 a year. Or put the receipts up and we can discuss that. We can discuss that if you want to discuss that. You know, these are people that these black people, these black simps follow. And that's why they can't get nowhere in life. This is who they follow. They follow idiots like this. Let's continue.
To come out and correct him. And look, I'm not saying that Meek Mill wasn't wrong. He absolutely was wrong. What he said was tacky, it was in poor taste, and it was insensitive. I don't think that you should be putting any person who has passed and who is not here in your lyrics in a negative way. However, I want to know why Vanessa Bryant didn't have that same energy when it came to people of no color besmirching her.
You see, you see how angry this creature is because Vanessa Bryant didn't say nothing. She's so bitter and jealous, proving my point. This is why from here on out, I'm gonna do a series. And I'm going to just put Cynthia G follower when I see someone that reminds me of this. Cynthia G follower when I see a creature that gets mad. Because typically these are her followers. Cynthia G follower when I actually see a Cynthia G follower here on YouTube exposing herself and proving my point. I'm going to be proving my point all through this year. 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. But this year is about to be deadly for these creatures. I'm just getting started. My mic is in the mail right now. It's coming through. I got this trash ass mic. I got my built-in mic right now. All trashy and shit. I'm about to go in you apes all year. And I gotta use these people as an example so the next generation of black men won't be brainwashed by these idiots. And it starts right here. Let's continue.
President's name that she's now giving to Meek Mill. And see, this is something that maybe black people may have forgot because they go with trends, they have selective outrage as well, and quite frankly, we have the attention span of a toddler. So now they don't even really remember Vanessa Bryant's energy and all the excuses they were making while she was not defending her husband from those vicious verbal attacks that people of no color were engaging in. But now she has so much smoke for this black man. I don't find that to be coincidental, but you guys let me know what you think about that. That's really all I have to say about this. Someone sent me an email with this story because they felt like Meek Mill was out of line. And listen, I think Meek Mill was out of line too, but I also think it's interesting how Vanessa Bryant had a one-sided defense for her husband, and her defending her husband's name depends clearly on the race of the people making the comments. But you guys,
you see how bitter this creature is? You see how bitter? You see how bitter this creature is? You see how she said that she's just mad because of Vanessa Bryant actions. You see how mad she is? She's mad because of Vanessa Bryant actions. Because Vanessa Bryant didn't do this. Vanessa Bryant didn't do that. That's what triggered her to do this video.
guys let me know what you think. Thank you for your support. Like, comment, subscribe, share the video.
Oh, she said like? I forgot to dislike this video. I'm going to dislike it. Dislike. I probably support the algorithm though, so I probably would be better off not liking it at all, but I already disliked it, so I made sure I dislike. I'm not subscribing to you because you're an idiot. But I'm going to keep doing content on this. This was light work right here, but I got to use this creature as an example.
You do subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell and subscribe to all notifications so that you'll know every time I go live and when I upload new content. Thank you guys so much for your support. I'll see you in
You go live on someone else's live stream. And if you get on live with me, I'll make you look stupid. I'll make you look dumb. I'm not going on your live stream. I'm just going to do a review on your video, if anything. Go on another live stream, a mutual live stream, and I'll definitely show up with facts and evidence. Which I can do in a video, my whole video of what they really choose and what we really choose is doing anyways. But that's all I got to say. Ain't nothing more to say. I'm out.